the issue around CNG, compressed natural gas, which was introduced following the removal of fuel subsidy by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2023 when he took office when he took office as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Of course, recall the idea was to more like introduce some kind of cushion the effect of the subsidy removal for Nigeria. But in recent times, we've seen the increase again in the price of that CNG, which many Nigerians indeed did turn to as a way of having some kind of relief. But we've spoken to the regulator, I'll call them the PCNGI, and they did say that they were not involved in the increment in prices. That is, the sector is indeed a purely private sector driven. We also spoke to private sectors operators as well, who did say that, of course, for them to be able to remain in business, the current prices, as it were, was not sustainable, and that was why they had to move the prices from 230 to 380, to between 380 and 345. Some have even saying that the price is expected to hit at least 570, depending on your location within the country. But today we'll speak to somebody who is directly involved, whose members buy CNG directly from many of the conversion centers and, of course, the filling stations, the CNG stations across the country there, for us to know the extent or the impact that this increases is having on transportation sector in the country. I'm being joined in the studio by Kingsley Eze. Kingsley Eze is a city transport expert and co-founder of Nairaxi. He joins us here in the studio. Glad to have you on Business Daily again.
Thank you for having me again.
All right. CNG was introduced to cushion the effect of hardship on Nigeria.
Correct.
Many Nigerians were even given the notion that they were going to get the CNG almost like free. But the reverse is becoming the case.
I think your premise is correct. And also, we just have to update the viewers on what is currently playing out. I think it started with 90% subsidy for compressed natural gas. I think it was sold at 230. That was like the official price.
Absolutely.
Though it was not nationwide, because a lot of factors has to come in play in terms of, the cost. And we also know that this is almost 100% private sector driven. Government is just coming here with regulation through NMDPR and probably PCA, NGI that encouraged most of our commuters to migrate. Essential kits were given and other incentives given to encourage the adoption. So I think the government is trying to step back right now, and that is why the cost has, in quotes, ballooned from 230 to I think 480 on the average, depending on where you're buying it from. So this pullback is as a result of trying to make the market to determine the price and to also encourage more investment. And all is a capitalist economy, so people that want to sell at a price that works for them. And you can't replace fuel subsidy with gas subsidy. That's like almost ending up at the same spot.
But where are we? I mean, do you think this is the point for government to pull back, given what Nigerians are going through? The economy is difficult for almost everyone.
Yes, honestly, the economy bites hard, but what they are saying, I'm not speaking on behalf of the government, but the rationale behind, because we have to see it from two angles. Your angle, which is a commuter, you want prices to stay as low as possible, but government is also looking at a situation where you are replacing fuel subsidy with gas subsidy. So you end up at the same place. Corruption, but
government has denying that the CNG was not subsidized.
Yes, they denied that, but obviously there is like a sort of an agreement between the players that, because what is the way it's looking like more of like a bait and switch. Consumers were baited through subsidized kits and low costs for the energy, which is CNG itself. So now government is now trying to switch which is making the end users to feel cheated, and why did we get ourselves into this? I paid millions of naira to convert my car, and now I'm about to spend almost the same price with PMS. You asked the question, are we going to see a situation where CNG will end up being as expensive as a PMS? So the thing here is that I feel like government should find a way to have a balancing act here, probably not this sudden increase that is almost like 100%. Yes.
Do you think government misled people into buying into CNG? I mean, just for them to be able to take away the subsidy on PMS?
I wouldn't say deceive, but probably it was not communicated outright. For example, it's just like electric mobility. When you are getting into it, first of all, is try to educate yourself as possible. I'm changing to electric mobility. I know that my battery in next 15 years, I should be trying to change the battery of my vehicle. So if you go into electric, I'm using this as an example, you're going into electric, or let me buy an electric car, and after 15 years and you are hit with a bill that is close to half of the cost of that vehicle for battery replacement, I'm sure you're not going to blame the government for your inability to do your research. So I believe the corporate communication arm of the government should be better in terms of communicating, cost and policy and how it's going to play down the line, going forward. So even right now, the cost is a bit on the high side, 100%, but if more players get in play or people are making money through CNG, then the competition will balance out the cost. So at the end, it might not be as high as 450, 500 that people are predicting. It might end up like around 350, which is like, okay, this is where we are trying to drive the policy towards. But it needs to be clearly communicated so that anyone that wants to go into CNG, converting their car kits, can plan ahead into the future. Yes.
Apart from even converting now, sometimes getting the CNG itself is even a problem because many drivers will have to queue for hours, 4 or 5 hours at a CNG filling station for them to be able to get that. What do we do about the availability problem?
Availability is like a chicken and egg problem because availability issue has to do, number one, it has to do with infrastructure. Obviously, most of the gases or stations are serviced by, truck that move on the road. So that's why we are praying, everyone is optimistic that the AKK gas pipeline should come on stream. So when it comes on stream, at least, the infrastructure distribution of the gas itself, that solves that. So you now see mother stations can be plugged into the main gas pipeline infrastructure. So this is where we are hoping we get to as fast as possible. So government should spend most of the time right now communicating to the public that this is when we think that the AKK gas pipeline will come on stream. And how can we shorten it? Because that's the KPI. You can't give a patient the medication when the patient is dead. So right now, you need to hasten that particular part, And also, with the new increased price, it's looking more attractive to people that want to investors to invest in it. So when investors come in, I'm sure there's going to be a balancing act, like I mentioned.
But do you think it should be a complete private sector driven? Because my conversation with the PCNGI guys is the fact that they were not involved in price control, more like, exonerating themselves from all the blames.
I think Nigeria is trying to head towards being 100%
capitalist economy.
But I don't think we're ready for that yet. So I think we should adopt the Chinese model of doing business, which is 80% and 20%. So government should know you owe your citizens this. Absolutely. All right? Just like in Saudi Arabia, the petrol is as abundant as water, is even cheaper there. So government should know that, yes, we don't want you to replace subsidy with subsidy, but we have this, all right? Even if you are not facilitating the price, at least the infrastructure, like I mentioned, the AKK gas pipeline, if the contractors are saying, oh, this will be ready in 2031, your key policy is how can we reduce the timeline to 2028 or something, 3 years earlier than scheduled. So even if you are not working on price and the citizens are educated that, okay, this is where we are devoting our core our strength or strategy or resources, they have something to look forward to. And I'm sure everybody can now bear the cost, knowing that, when these things happen, soccer is on its way.
It's on its way. You are involved in transportation, and you are an expert. You have a lot of fleet running under you. What are your drivers telling you with regards to this CNG adoption?
It's a mix. It's a mix because not all drivers switched. That's the honest truth. Because everybody was skeptical about the policy. So a few drivers, let's just say 40% or 30%, being very generous, switched from the data we have. But the ones that didn't switch are feeling like they made the decision, and you can't blame them because they're saying, we would have spent 1.something million to get the kits, and it's not even available, and now it's expensive. So I feel it's a policy. It's not looking good on the side of the government. It's not also encouraging the trust factor here, because you are trying to encourage people to make the switch.
Exactly.
The kit is not for everybody. It's just selected, let's say, NURT. And so you want even more people to spend their money to get the kits. So if they're not getting the kits, probably the demand that you're expecting that is down the line might not hit the target. And even the investors that are planning on making a killing will not make that, so you just have to have a nice balancing act through clear communication, transparency, and also finding a way to know that you can't have it as 100% capitalist economy. Just find a way to show that a bit
balance,
of balancing
for the citizen as well.
Correct.
But the funny part is that this is a new program that you're pushing. You're trying to encourage people, creating awareness for people to embrace the program.
Yes.
You are yet to even get up to 10 or 20% of the of acceptance.
Yes.
And you're increasing prices. Is that not a way of discouraging people or making people to be, to be suspect of government decisions?
Yeah, we are saying the same thing here. So I believe right now, because it's a circle, I blame the government. So it will be like a doom loop, But on the positive side, government should find a way, even if they are not subsidizing the CNG, because I believe you shouldn't replace subsidy with another subsidy. 100%, that's fine. But knowing that, government should find a way to do key things, which is the infrastructure. That's my key point here. Key things that is not subsidy of the product, but things that will, like availability issue, will be solved when the pipeline is, also tax incentive is simple. I don't know how it is being implemented currently, but there should be zero tax for CNG kits. I saw the announcement. Is it being implemented? All right. Also, incentive to increase participation of local companies to have the know-how in terms of manufacturing. So when you increase the manufacturing for the kits, all the components, local manufacturing, and all the things that have to do with the full entire supply chain of the gas, even from the field to people's CNG tanks. So once you're able to look at those critical components and you focus your attention, that okay, for the short term, we're giving ourselves 12 months, 24 months to achieve this, and you give Nigerians KPIs that they should expect down the line. I'm sure people can bear the cost for now, knowing that soccer is down the line.
What do you think is more like, is it a chicken and egg thing, or putting the cart before the horse? Maybe shouldn't we have, put in the infrastructure in place before we introduce this CNG thing? There's that concern as well, that we're not ready, we just jump on it.
And the thing is that nothing happens in a vacuum. So I believe you just have to start. Most things
without proper planning.
Yeah, you have to jump from the skyscraper and build the plane on your way. I hope that you don't crash before your plane is complete. Okay. And that is why you have to have a sense of urgency, which I don't think the government is showing right now. So the government should show that sense of urgency, educate, tell people, okay, this is the pipeline, this is the current phase, communicate that in clear terms, invite even people in key sectors. Okay, we that are transporters, look at the pipeline, we'll see where we are now. Look at people working. Contractors should have this KPI and know that they are running against time, because the whole, everybody is depending on that infrastructure for the circle too. Because without it, trust me, it's simple maths. I can't invest in a gas station and transport it and sell at a loss. No one does business to make a loss.
Absolutely.
But if there are things that could reduce the cost, then why are we not doing it? And why are we not doing it faster?
Do you think Dangote involvement in free delivery may bring any support to the industry?
Dangote is a clear example of how you should run a country. You know that, okay, fine. The key things that is adding 20 naira or 30 naira to petrol is transportation.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the problem. So how do I solve it? I can depend on other people's trucks to supply petrol, but there's no way other people will treat me the way I would treat myself. So I know I have to get trucks myself, and not just any kind of trucks that run on CNG to reduce the cost. So this is how a government should operate. And that's why I love the Chinese model, where government understands that, I have to identify company A. Dangote is very good in this. They are very good in cement. They are good with gas. There's no point. There's no agency that you can get that can have the expertise of Dangote as a private business. So you can have Dangote have an agreement and make sure it's not ripping Nigerians off. Because when you say monopoly, the Chinese economy is, in fact, you can just count 10 companies. One that handles construction, one that handles aeronautic projects, one that handles food and agriculture. They empower those companies, and government now regulates those companies. And that is why their growth is astronomical. So have that same model around key sectors. When it comes to gas, NIPCO is there, Greenville is there, other people are coming on stream. They can form a consortium and find a way that if you are dealing with them, because they have the expertise, they've brought in their money already. Remember, they invested, they saw a future and invested. So you should know that they have the expertise to solve the problem that you want solved. But at the same time, you can't allow them to have a free reign in the guise of free market economy. Because obviously, if I'm a CEO, I want to charge the maximum price, which is where ethical capitalism comes in play. Absolutely. So you have to force the ethics, all right? Because human beings are greedy. So you force the ethics by having regulation, but not regulation that will strangle the sector. So the balancing act needs to be at the forefront.
So you advise more, investors to come into the sector, given the fact that the likes of Dangote, who are big players, are successful in the business.
Yeah, sure. That's Dangote will tell you that if he puts $20 billion in SAP 500, he will be rich for 8% guaranteed return. It's easier for him, but he's taking his neck, which is the nation building approach. Because you can't just sit down and your nation is built. Today the refinery is there, is a national asset, everybody's happy, it's there. Absolutely. It's going to create jobs. So there are other key sectors. The gas economy is, I heard about the floating gas, the UTM. You can Google them. That one is also coming. So things are happening behind the scenes. But the difference is the sense of urgency. We are too slow in terms of making things happen. So Dangote brought 4,000 trucks in less than 3 months. I'm sure it's a board meeting. We need these trucks.
Absolutely.
Today, where are the buses that the government
promised?
There are no buses. There are no buses yet. So even if you bring the buses 2029, is 7 years behind schedule. So sense of urgency is something that the government should learn. And the best way to learn it is from private sector players, because they move, they identify a problem, and they look for suppliers, and they solve it instantly. So with the deep pockets of the government, I'm sure they can do better.
Indeed, and Dangote did say recently that there are few people in Nigeria who has more money than him. That some of them prefer to go to Monaco and other places to go and enjoy their wealth, but he took risks by investing in Nigeria. But for another area that has a large gas deposit in Nigeria is Bayelsa State. If you talk about so many Bayelsa and Delta State and some other areas as well. But it does seem like the CNG adoption in those areas are not as much as what we have in Lagos and Abuja here.
Obviously,
is it lack of awareness thing?
I think the issue is the economic output of those areas, because CNG is obviously, key industries that use it, industries and vehicles and heavy duty trucks and all that. So if you don't have robust industries, if you don't have commerce happening in those places, obviously the rate of adoption is low. So it's just like expecting to see a shark in a small pond. So I believe the economic output of those areas is one of the reasons why it looks as if adoption is small. But again, the key thing here is that we should not underrate gas. Qatar is one of the countries that has the highest GDP in terms of nominal GDP.
Exactly.
And 90% of their exports is gas. And we have this. This is Qatar. So we should know that there is enormous potential for gas. So in terms of exploration, in terms of the strategic use of it to power industries, to power transportation, to power trains, and to make sure that all industries are all inclusive. In terms of even cheap electricity generation, we shouldn't underrate that. And we have it. More than 200 trillion standard cubic feet of gas. So we have it, but the thing here is...
But we flare them away without proper utilization.
Yes, proper utilization is key. Yes.
Indeed. Let's hear what some drivers are saying. Hakim Midri is a ride-hailing driver, and he described the development, talking about the hike in CNG now, as discouraging. According to him, he said many boat drivers spend up to 10 hours in queues to drive long distance just to refill. Now that with this sudden increase, the whole idea of CNG being cheaper is at risk. What will you say to someone like Hakim?
Hakim is his concern is 100% justified, and like I mentioned, it's the chicken and egg problem. We hope that the increase in price will encourage some even dormant. I heard some stations are already built, but it's not active yet because the math does not make sense. I know it takes 10,000 to run this station and it's going to generate 9,005. I'm not going to start the station because I know there's deficit of 500 to be expected. So there's nothing. I can't make that decision based on emotion to satisfy the boat driver. But by the time I know the upside is okay with the new price, maybe the station comes on stream, other stations come on stream, and competition will now balance out the prices. Yes.
And we hope that it will not be balancing it upward. That is where the concern is. Another motorist, Basil, he says since he converted to CNG that he was saving as much as 43,000 naira weekly. That he invested the money in conversion because it was affordable, but now that the price is going up, it all seems that he will go back to petrol. That is what he said.
Anyway, for now, I feel like it's still 50% cheaper to run on CNG when you check the energy, the unit economics of energy. So I don't think they are still saving even with the new price. I wouldn't want to paint a very dark picture. It's not like 1-to-1, but we hope it doesn't get to 1-to-1. So I feel like the cost is still 50% cheaper, and we hope it can be better. We might not get it to 90% because, trust me, 90%, even in the international market, it's like a math that does not make sense. Absolutely. 1 + 1 is always 2. So 90% subsidy, at 240 is not realistic. But let's just hope we can get it from 50 to 65 or 70. So that extra 15% or 20% has to do with policy, infrastructure and other things that government can step in, and also private sector players to practice ethical capitalism, where you you just charge what is fair. I know I can make 500 off this motorist, but is that the fair thing to do? So if you know that your profit, 20-30% is okay, why would you want to charge 60% over price? So I believe we should also push for such concepts. So it's altruistic, to have that, but it has to come with pride for your nation and trying your best to give back
now,
to your society.
Some people say Nigerian businessmen are greedy.
I think the solution is ethical capitalism. Ethical as regards the price you charge to the
but the regulation
user.
And the system too, will it allow that? That is the concern.
Regulators have a framework, and if you ask, they will tell you that the current price is justified by the current framework. I'm not an expert to know all the checks and balances there, but the framework is there. There's no country where you cannot skid round a framework, and that's where you have to be ethical. Know that what you're doing is either building a nation or destroying a nation. So as Dangote is right now, God bless you, you have a refinery, but what if he wants to sell at 1.5 per liter? That's not fair, and he knows that. And I think he's trying his best to practice, ethical capitalism to the best of his ability.
Yes. Some will also argue with you that any area that Dangote get in most cases, he monopolize the sector and the prices continue to go up. Take cement, for example.
He will tell you also that it's first come, first serve. I took the risk and I should have the spoils. So that is a sort of encouragement for other people to get in if you really want to play in such sector. So I believe it's a challenge for other entrepreneurs with dormant cash to see sectors and get in. And they will tell you the market corrects itself, and that's the truth. Because when you see Dangote is making a killing, you can see Manga, is this cement is there, Bua is also there. So people are investing and things are coming down, there's competition. So I believe the market will correct itself, but we just have to nudge the market towards the right direction.
Yeah, all right, as we wrap up the conversation now, what would you say to drivers who are getting discouraged with regards to this hike now in CNG prices?
There's nothing you can tell drivers right now, but I feel like the math still makes sense. Because if it's still 50% cheaper, it's not as lucrative as you thought.
What about the availability, which is also a problem? Many of them have to kill 5-10 hours to get the CNG. Many have to sleep at the station.
I think for people like that, then you wait it out, see where this policy or this price increase would maybe in the next 3 to 6 months. I'm sure you're going to see change in terms of some dormant stations that will be activated. Then when you see that supply is easing, then you can make your switch. That's my advice.
All right. I must thank you, Mr. Kingsley Eze, City Transport Expert, co-founder of Nairaxi. We appreciate your time and contributions on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. With that is a wrap on the show today. We'll be back again tomorrow. I am Yusuf Akogu.